Good morning. I'm so McDonough, IFBB Bikini Pro, and today we have four shows that we're going to talk about. And okay, some of the people I'm going to pull up haven't necessarily like gone top five or even top six, and not even. It's hard to get top six, but they haven't gotten top six even. Stop saying even. They haven't gotten top six. Not to keep putting them on blast and saying what they haven't done, but you know what I mean. But you know me, I have my little biases, so I am still going to talk about some people that I just like, and I want to shed light on. So yeah, I also just like to pull out people that I think have a lot of potential and could eventually do very well, and that could be in your future, it could be in a couple years. But yeah, so we're gonna talk about a lot of people. But first and foremost, we are continuing my little theme that I set when I made my video on June 1st, which is talking about something pride related, queer LGBTQ plus pride related, because I myself am gay. And here is my pride point of today's video. Okay. So a lot of people struggle with, when somebody starts identifying as different gender. Maybe they're trans, maybe they're non-binary, aka NB. So if you hear someone say they're an NB, it means they're non-binary, which means they do not conform to either of the traditional binary genders. So male, female. So yeah, that's what an NB means. So yeah, someone who just doesn't identify as what they were assigned at birth. So another little thing that you could be aware of is the terms AFAB and AMAB. So AFAB means assigned female at birth, and AMAB means assigned male at birth. So yeah, you might hear a lot of people who are NB or like trans or whatever say that they are like AFAB or AMAB. That just identifies like what they were born with, basically. Born being told they are. So my pride point of the week is if somebody in your life or just somebody you meet goes by a different gender than they were assigned that you were formerly familiar with. So if like say my sister or something started or came out as non-binary, then I would refer to them as them and not her. So what my advice is if someone starts identifying as something you're not familiar with, or you just meet them and they identify as something that maybe they don't physically present as, or it's not in line with what you think a gender is presented looking like, then yeah, if you misgender them, so say the wrong pronoun for them, then instead of saying, "Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to say that," male, you're a guy. Like instead of saying something like that, and really like the key thing here is apologizing for it and making a big deal out of it, just blow past it. So if my sister started identifying as them, then I would be like, and my sister, she, and then I would correct myself and I'd be like, my sibling, they, or just they. Just move past it. Don't apologize because it puts a person in the position of having to apologize for who they are and also forgive people for just not giving them the calling them the right thing in the first place. So yeah, just don't apologize, blow past it. If you apologize a bunch, it makes it about you, and it just like puts even more pressure on the person you're talking to like have a certain reaction to make you comfortable. So instead, just blow past it and move on and just try to call them the right thing the best that you can. Okay. That's my pride point of the week. And I also said that I would tell you maybe this week what my sister how she took it when I came out to her. And that's a quick story, so I'll just share it with you. So yeah, I didn't even really come out. I have the privilege of not really having to come out, like because my family didn't disown me. Like that's a big thing with queer people; their families disown them. So that's why there are higher rates of homelessness, higher rates of suicidality among the queer community. Um, so yeah, I was lucky that I didn't really have to do that. I'm very privileged in that way. So when I came out to my sister, really I just said I was going on a date with a girl, and she was like, "Okay, great. What is she like?" And that was it. She was just like so chill. She wasn't, like accusatory, like, "Are you a lesbian?" Like she wasn't weird about it. She just well, went with it, rolled with the punches, and then let me say what I wanted to say and come out as much as I wanted to. And you know what? She's the best. I can't help but beam when I talk about her because I just have the greatest sister in the world. I have two incredible sisters actually. So yeah, okay, those are my pride points of the week. So let's get into these previews. So we have DC. The Open and the Natural Show, and then we have Toronto, and then we have Mile High. So, let's start with who am I starting with? I'm starting with the Toronto show. Okay, so the first person I pulled up is Michelle Billet. I just really like Michelle's look. I think she has a lot of potential. She has fucking crazy shape. She just competed last weekend at Legions. So yeah, what are the changes I would make for Michelle? I think gorge, nothing to change there. I think that when I look at her, the fullness in the legs is gorgeous. This is like spot on conditioning that I believe they want to see. But she's just a little bit harder in this arm than she is in her lower body, and she's kind of pinched up her shoulders. So I would like her to relax her shoulders, open her shoulders, keep them nice and level, so we get that beautiful taper from the lat into her waist, and then projecting out into the glute again. But she's already getting crazy taper with pinching her shoulder in like this. So yeah, I would try to soften up this conditioning, however you would be able to do that. I would get the hair off the shoulder too, because that's further like making her physique look narrow and very linear. I would also probably, I mean, yeah, she looks like she is kind of like she has her pelvis tucked, which is creating like an extreme divot here, which is not necessarily bad, but it does just look like she's tilted forward. So I just want her to arch her back a little bit, open up her shoulders, and get that really beautiful hourglass shape. That way the shoulder isn't sloping off and she doesn't look too closed off in this front pose. The angle of her hips, I think, is spot on, but just a matter of like kind of tweaking that the pelvis, the arch in the pelvis, and then the upper body. And conditioning, it's just a mismatch from top to bottom. She has placed as high as third before, which was just last year. So yeah, she's already a top 5, top 3 person. So that is what I would change. And then when she settled into her pose, she kind of teapotted her arm like this. They don't want to see that. So just bring the arm, keep it straight, and then tight to the glute to give a really beautiful frame to the physique. She is more open in the lat here, but we're kind of losing some shape and just like hourglass like framedness because her arm is sticking out so far. In her back pose, she yeah, she has really crazy glutes. She has really great roundness. I would say it looks like what is it? Like she's too leaned forward here almost. It looks like she's falling forward a little bit. That could be wrong. I don't know. There's something about this back pose that I want to change. Maybe it's that her legs are completely straight. I don't know. It's the upper body that is throwing me off a bit. So maybe straighten those arms. I'm seeing a little bit too much space here. And the delts are really popping, but I think that's kind of distracting me. We have a lot of pop and fullness in the delts, and we do have fullness in the glutes, but it doesn't look as poppy as the upper body. So that again is reading as an imbalance to me. And I think that's just because she has a little more muscle up top, so that's why she looks even more conditioned up top than she does on the bottom. So yeah, I would say long term evening out the muscularity, so building up this lower a little bit, hamstrings and glutes, I'd say, because the hamstrings kind of, they have shape, but they do look kind of like flatter. So yeah, that's what I would say, but love her look, and I would probably run a brush through the hair. It just looks a little bit heavy, like it's weighing her down. The suit color is okay, but since she is harder, then a dark suit color can accentuate that further. So I would probably just do a more saturated color suit. I mean, this is saturated, but it's kind of just on the darker side. That teal, it's kind of the same thing. The teal almost has like a black undertone to it, which I do think is a bit harsh on her with like, dark hair, the tan, being a little harder in the upper body. So let's see. Has she worn a different color before? Yeah, dark. Yeah, and nothing with a black base is what I'm thinking. Yeah, that kind of has a black base. So if she could wear like even a bright blue, I'm kind of, lukewarm about a bright blue, but it's common for a reason. It looks good, it would pop. So I think just a more saturated base color to her suit that doesn't really have black undertones. Okay, and then Brooklyn Bodo. So this is going to be her pro debut, and I pulled her up because I think she has incredible shape. The fullness in the upper body matches that in the lower. I would say just a little more muscle all over. The red I think is gorgeous. Beaming on stage, hair, makeup, tan. I think it's perfect. Makeup could maybe be a little more glam, but I'm just nitpicking. It's kind of hard to tell from that picture. And this conditioning is really good. It's just going to be a matter of more muscle for her, so she doesn't look like crazy outsized on the pro stage. And hair could be a tiny bit shorter, but this pose is excellent. I wouldn't change anything about that. And the front pose, I probably wouldn't change much either. Maybe angling this toe at a 45 instead of more horizontal like this. and move the hand out. So okay, I would change stuff. I move the hand off the belly button because she's covering the tiniest part of her waist. Her waist still looks crazy tiny, but I think that would enhance her shape. And also these feet kind of meeting here is giving wellness. So I want her toe to actually be right here so we get more space between these feet. And for her, it's just more muscle. So more in the upper outer glute, more in the arms so she doesn't get like too hard right in here. But I would do all of this, making those tweaks in the front pose and just adding a little more size, which she probably has at this point. It's been, almost a year since she competed last. Okay, Brianna. So Bri, I already talked about her in my wrap up of this Optimum video, so you can just watch that. But yeah, for her, I think the only thing standing in her way of an Olympia qualification is more size in this upper outer glute. She has great fullness and projection, but we just lose it here, and I think that's where she lost to Eureka and was losing to Emmy Person. Okay, Judith. Okay, I love Judith. So she just competed last weekend at Legion. I think her shape is crazy. So I think shape is good. I would like her a little fuller in the shoulders to match this glute projection. I like the suit color, hair, makeup, presentation are all spot on. And then a little bit tighter in these glutes here, but I think she could look tighter if she's arched her lower back. She's looking a tiny bit soft here, and I think it's just because her pelvis is almost neutral. So I would just like her to arch more, maybe push her upper body slightly forward. More like the pose we just saw on that, was it Brooklyn? Let's see. On, who was I just talking about? Who's doing her pro debut? Yeah, Brooklyn. Okay, and then I'll go into my predictions of like where I think people will place. Okay, so I talked about Kiki in my optimum wrap up too. For Kiki, I think it's just structural things and needing more muscle in the upper outer glute. So if I were trying to get my Olympia qualification, if I were her, and everyone has different reasons for competing, it could be like just business reasons, getting more stage time. Yeah, but for her, it's gonna be more upper outer glute in the front and the back pose, and keeping this core tight. Uh, okay, I'll tell you why the back pose. I mean, I'll show you a picture. So yeah, just so we have like more shape and differentiation between the glutes and the legs, and then tan, more even. And then we have Ellie Fernandez, so I'm so excited to see her back. I'm a big Ellie fan. It might be Eli, honestly, I'm not sure. The suit, she always does something that almost has this like a lot of AB stones. So AB is just those pure crystal stones that have like the light refracting, not like the totally clear ones that are just like basically white. But too much of these kind of just looks like headlights on stage and washes the physique out. So I would get a more saturated suit. The gray shadow on stage, it's not celebrating her coloring, so it just looks a little bit washed out. So I would just get more glam, warm up the makeup a little bit, just more glam in the makeup. But the shape is really good. She could angle her hips a little bit away so we get more snatchedness in this waist because she has crazy shape in this front pose. And she would also probably get more fullness to the upper outer glute if she did that. But I think she is a contender to win this show. She's been in the Olympia like 7 or 8 times. Last year I think is the first year she hasn't qualified in a long time. Well, okay, let me correct the record. Did she compete last year, 2024? No, not at the Olympia. Okay. So, yeah, her back pose is where she loses it for me. She just comes in really tight in these hamstrings. So what it's going to take is just bigger, more projection to the glutes so she doesn't get so tight in these hamstrings because the glute is kind of just flowing directly into the leg here and we're seeing these grooves. So that is her like biggest thing that stands in the way. Brittany, I just talked about in the Legion video. So I'll just reiterate quickly. I don't think I said this, but her little cup is hanging out. I did see what color fabric she wore, and it's like a silvery periwinkle. So light blue, I think is good, but I want it more saturated, more like a tricot aquamarine that you see like Jordan Brandon wearing, not the velvet one, but just like the plain. So yeah, I think that would be like spot on for her, and it would still be different. I saw on her story she said she wants to be like different still. So yeah, I think blue is good, but not this blue because it just kind of washes her out. And like I said in the other video, I think more lat would help her so she gets more taper, and I would bring this hand down to the hip. And then her back pose, I think she could use more hamstring, in that she was too tight in these triceps. So yeah, I would say more lat in the front and the back pose to get this taper, and more hamstring to get like more 3D projection all around, like that 360 leg. Okay, and then I brought up Marissa. I brought her up in the Miami preview video, but I accidentally X'd her out in the video and couldn't remember who I X'd out, so I just left it. I am a big fan of Marissa. She just went pro in Canada last year. Was it at Toronto? Okay, it doesn't look like it, no. But yeah, big fan of her. She is an adaptive athlete. She wears this like gorgeous prosthetic. So I think she has incredible shape. This was her pro debut. I would say a little more projection in the stepper outer glute. Looks a little bit harder in the upper body than she does in the lower body. So that's just going to mean more muscle. So when she gets this tight, she looks like this, but all over her physique. Waist super fucking tight. This lat gorgeous, tapers into like an itty bitty waist. I do like the pink. Hair makeup suit, gorgeous. In her back pose, and this is obviously not something she can help, but I do think it's a consideration. So I think she should straighten her arms. That she can help, and then she would get more taper like in her back here. When you can see your boob from the back, it means that you're too pinched up. So I would like to see more lat, straighten the arms a bit. And the thing I was going to say she can't change, but actually does not look like much of an issue here, is just this tricep is not as big as the other one, obviously. Like, it makes sense, why not? So is that something that judges will even really score with her? Maybe no. Like, I've seen people who have had like prosthetic legs on stage, like place above a bunch of people who didn't. So I don't know that it's like actually a hindrance, but I think if she straightened her arms a little bit, she would get better taper into her back here. And if she could cut her hair a little, so we see that low back, so we really see like how hourglassy she is from the back, that would be helpful. This is a great shape, but I do wonder if she needs more hamstring. So yeah, more density in the lower body for her and see what happens and posing tweaks. Okay, and then we have Emma McDougall. So I didn't talk about her in my last video, but I just think it's because she didn't place, but I just think she has great shape. Like, this is a crazy, crazy shape. So I think she's a little more muscular in the upper body than she is in the lower. So I would say more shape to the legs all over, or just more density all over. But I love the shape. Suit bottom a little low in the front, so I would pull it up in the front and down in the back. But I think if she got a little tighter, then because this back pose is great, she just needs to be like a touch tighter. It looks like she has a little watery film on her in the upper and lower body. So if she gets a little tighter, I think she could be in like this top 6. Okay, then we have Alice Marquezio. So I love her. She has been to the Olympia before. I love her shape. I love her fullness. I think she could just angle her hips away a little bit so I see less of the front of her suit bottoms. I don't like this polka dotting going on with her suit crystal selection. So I would get just a more uniform crystal. But yeah, she's angled her hips. I think she could win this show. Like, I think she just looks less shapely when she's so straight on, but she has a ton of shape. And this conditioning matches top to bottom and front to back. So Alice has a really, really gorgeous look. Yeah, a little tight in the hamstrings. Maybe not total match from front to back, but I think she just needs some more pop here. And the tan was too light. But the hair I think is good. Could be a little shorter, but I think it's good. And then we have Octavia. So I really like Octavia. She has great hourglass shape. She just needs more density in these legs here, and she looked a little bit flat at the Olympia. So that's what I would say. She just doesn't have that like bursting fullness that I like to see. Back pose, gorgeous. The quads look a little bit hard from the back, but if she just angled her toes in a little bit so they didn't like project and look so hard, then I think she would be more balanced in the back pose. She also looks like she's a little skewed here, like she has more wrinkling there than on this side. Of course, her hair is covering it, but it does look like she's more pinched down on this side than this side. So, yeah. Jessica Neri. So she is placed 3rd, and she placed 6th at her pro debut and got Best Posing Award. So her posing, obviously great. I think she has great shape. I just talked about her in the Miami video, so you can watch that. But I think she just needs to streamline her shape because she looks a little bit bulky in some areas here. It looks like puzzle pieces together, but it doesn't look quite cohesive yet. The back pose, though, is completely impressive and striking, so I could see her placing really high because of this back pose. And like I said in my other video, a little less fullness in the hair. It just looks a little bit heavy, like I was talking about with another competitor. And then we have Sarah. So Sarah, okay, is she in a front pose? So she's placed top 5 multiple times. I would say just bringing this arm in and not vacuuming the waist. She has a crazy shape though. And the back pose is really good and really full. So I would leave this the same. Maybe it looks a little quad heavy, but that could just be adjusted with angling her toes in a little bit and minimizing that quad. And then we have Maxine. Okay, I love Maxine. I love Maxine. So this blue is what I would like to see on who did I talk about earlier? Michelle. Like, yeah. If she wore this kind of blue, that would be great. Maxine, incredible shape. She won this show last year and qualified for the Olympia. So if that could happen again. Crazy shape, super, super tight waist. Just needs some more density in the legs, specifically in these glutes. That's where she loses it for me. Not loses the show, but like loses like a first place compared to someone who does bring it. She just looks a little bit flatter in this mid glute here. Great shape, but just needs overall more projection. And the tan could be a little bit better. So what are my placings? Okay, I think it's going to be, okay, let me write them down. So Toronto. Okay, Toronto. I think it's going to be, okay, I'm going to say Maxine, Ellie. I think any of these people could win, though. There's not a clear winner for me at this show. Um, I love Brittany, so I'm going to just keep saying Brittany. I think that Brianna Campardo will place above Brittany, though. And I think Brianna could even win. So I think it'll be between Brianna and Maxine. Okay, and then I'll say Ellie, then Brittany. And I want to say Emma McDougal, but I know that I'm maybe I'll say Jessica. And Jessica could even be Brittany. We'll just have to see. So that's what I'm going to say. I'm not confident in these, but I'll say Maxine, Brianna, Ellie, Brittany, Jessica. Alice has great fullness. I'm even going to put Alice, if she comes in right, she might even be above Brittany. I don't know. I'll say Maxine, Brianna, Ellie, Alice, Brittany, Jessica, but I think anyone could win. There's not a clear winner for me. Okay, and then let's talk about the DC Natural show. So there's only two people. So DC, we have Megan DeGento. So I watched her posing video, and I think she does need to make all those same posing things that I said, just arching more in the back pose and pushing her upper body forward. But she is looking a little bit flatter in this upper outer glute. So let's wait for her to come forward. I'm also not obsessed with the suit, and the makeup and hair could be more glam. She looks like she's leaning back in this front pose. I really like her look, though. I don't mean it to say I don't like her look, but she's a little bit flatter in the upper outer glute, and it slopes off a lot there. So I think she should push her upper body forward, and then she could get that fullness, but that's just we really lose it right there. So yeah, I still think she's going to win this show and get her Ben Weider qualification. And then who she's going against won her pro card at Ben Weider last year. Michelle, if I can get a picture to pull up. Okay, let's start here. Okay, and then this one. No, okay, what about this one? Okay, here she is. Ooh, never mind. She might be winning this. So she needs to angle her hips away a little bit. Too much of the front of the suit bottoms and too much shoulder width. Conditioning is perfect. Conditioning is perfect. It's even from top to bottom. Yeah, actually, I think she will probably win this. More projection to the glutes, but this conditioning is freaking crazy. Love the suit color. I think she's winning. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to say Michelle. Okay, DC Natural. DC Natural. I'll say Michelle, Megan. Could be either, but I think it'll probably be Michelle. Okay, and let's talk about the Mile High. So Ashley Kay is coming back. So we'll just start with Ashley Kay. So Ashley Kay, I think she's the favorite to win. She has everything. She's second in the world. There's not really much to say. I mean, you can watch my recap of the Olympia and see what I said about her, but the hair and makeup just need to be more polished, and she needs to look more confident in her posing, and then most shows are hers. Then we have Lenny. So Lenny just did her pro debut at Wasatch, and then she got 7th at Miami. So I'm pulling her up. Really great shape, a little bit hard seeing striations this arm, but straighten the arm so it's not teapotting out. And then in her back pose, I would say, okay, she's not fully set up, but these glutes are crazy. I don't know. I think, yeah, she's someone to look out for. Okay, and then we have Kimber. So makeup just needs to be more glam, I think, and the color needs to match better. So what do I think it is with Kimber? She hasn't been doing as great this year as she had in the past when she was getting top fives. I think she's a little too open in these hips, squatting down a little bit too much. She might be trying to make herself more comparable with the other people on stage since she's so tall. Um, but I think she should just own it, stand tall, don't open these hips as much, don't sit on those glute as much. And I think she just needs more hamstring, but it's tough when you're a tall competitor. It just takes like 3 times the muscle to compare best with like these shorter people. Back pose I think is really good. Could arch a little bit more. But yeah, it's really good. She's competing at Legion, I thought. Maybe she didn't. So yeah, that's what I would say. And then we have Morgan Dirk. So she's making her pro debut. And I think she has great balance, more lat, just more density all over, but I want to shout her out. I think this color on her is really pretty. She looks confident, she looks happy. I think, yeah, really good. Let's just see what she looks like when she does her pro debut. And I couldn't find a back pose. Oh yeah, no one could. Okay, my bad. Back pose, gorgeous. Really, really good conditioning here, as tight as she needs to be. Um, just needs more density all over, so we'll see where our pro debut goes, and I wish her major luck. Okay, then we have Eureka, so I think she will probably be in that second place. Her waist is just wider than Ashley Kay, and I think she needs more glute, because she's getting a lot of projection in these shoulders, but not as much of the glute. She's kind of squatting into it to mirror it, and to fake it, but her waist just looks a little bit wide. And in the back pose, I mean, I've talked about her a couple times already at Optimum and at Legion, so you can just watch those. But just pose these arms straighter, more coverage in the suit bottom, in the front and the back, honestly, especially the back covering these divots. And the suit top, I think, is a little small for her. And then we have Reina. Okay, I'm obsessed with Reina, so I take back what I said actually about whoever I said was going to be in second. Who did I say was going to be in second? Eureka. I think it's going to be Reina and Ashley are our top two, and I would love to see Reina win. I'm a big Reina fan. I think she got second to Ashley at RGV last year. Not RGV, Republic of Texas. Did she? No. Okay, I thought she competed with her last year. She got 14th at the Olympia last year. Okay, Republic of Texas, RGV, Dallas. Maybe she got third to. So it's kind of going to be a little. Yeah, okay. It's going to be a little rematch, I think. So we'll see if Reina can compare and beat Ashley. But I love Reina's look. Like, there's not really much to say. The front pose needs some help. And like I said, I think this top looks a little bit saggy. It's just the cut and could be tied tighter. Makeup could be more glam. But the shape is great. There's something about her front pose I want changed. I want her to like almost tilt her back more so we get more like evenness in this shape. Almost looks like she's leaned forward. So I don't know. But her back pose is what really, really steals the show. So here's her back pose. It's fucking great. There's nothing to say. Like it's perfect. So we'll just see how she compares against Ashley. I would love to see her win. I love Reina. I love Ashley too, but I just it would be cool to see Reina win the show. And then we have Allie Taylor. So I think no, this was not her pro debut this year. So yeah, when I saw Allie on stage, I thought her shape was really good. Tan hair, makeup, suit, gorgeous. I love this suit. I kind of want this suit. Could have a little more coverage and fullness. Angle away a little bit so you're not as opened up in these hips. Uh, yeah, I think she just needs to be a little bit fuller, but the conditioning matches from top to bottom. And then in her back pose, yeah, her back pose is really good. She could push her upper body forward a little bit and get more matching width from top to bottom. But yeah, so who do I think is going to win? So I think it's going to be, oh, and Elizabeth. I had her up earlier. Did I not open her? Okay, let's see. Okay, so here is Elizabeth Vong. So she has placed top five before. She has a really beautiful shape. However, she was really balanced last year, or 2 years ago when she competed, I think. Yeah, 2 years. But now she is needing more size. That's not fully posed, but you get it. Okay, so she is just looking too jacked in the upper body of me right now. Of course, these are just check-in pictures, but it's overpowering, so I don't know. I don't know if she's going to be as high as she's been in the past. So that's something I'm curious about. I think the darker hair is better suited for stage, though. So how do I think it's going to go? I'm going to say Ashley, Reina, Eureka. And then that Lenny, maybe. Okay, so I'll say Ashley, Raina, Eureka, Lenny. Those are my only guesses. Okay, and then our final show, DC. So, okay, Tara Greer, or Grier is back. I don't know how you say her name, so let me pull her up. I'm going to start with her, and then we'll talk about Miss China. Okay, so here is Tara. She's been to the Olympia before. I was really hoping to see her in that top 15 last year, but it just didn't happen. So Tara, gorgeous look. I'm obsessed with the way she does her hair, so I'm gonna make a DC list. Okay. She won this DC show last year. So her only issue, I think, is the width of her waist. It's just not as small as other people structurally, but I think she could win this show. I love her shape, love her hair and makeup. This do, I'm okay with the pink. It's not my fave, but she likes it, so whatever. And she's a player. She's not gonna be wearing a suit that the judges told her not to, so I think she's fine. Love the shape of her glutes. I'm losing a little bit of that upper glute there, but maybe she just arched more and pushed her upper body forward. So yeah, I think Tara's going to be probably our winner. I really like Natalia's look. I think, yeah, she's went pro last year. I really like Natalia's look. I think she could just angle her hips away a little bit. I love this suit color. I kind of want this suit, but angle them away so we get more hourglass shape so she's not as straight on in the core here. And her back pose. The shapes are all there. She just needs to be a little bit fuller. This is a little bit too much. Maybe she's arched too much. I would have her open up her shoulder width a little bit more too, if possible. Okay, then we have Brooklyn Bate. So I really like Brooklyn's look. Here's her front pose. So she's hyperextended, so we lose her glute. We see a lot of quads. I would have a little bend in her knee, not be straight on with this toe, more of a 45-degree angle, but really great shape. Hair, makeup, suit, I think work for her. And then her back pose. Well, it's not fully posed, but I'll show you this. Really great shape and structure to her glutes and her upper body. And then we have, okay, this is going to be pro debut, Jordana. I pulled her up because I like her shape. Let's see. Okay, yeah, I like her shape. I think she could open up a little bit more. So open up her shoulder width maybe, move her foot out here, more of an angle in this toe, and then she'd get more exaggerated cartoonish shape. Conditioning is spot on. It matches top to bottom and front to back as well. So she could be a little tighter here. It looks like body fat is kind of making those glutes touch. So yeah, if she's a little tighter with a little more muscle all over, I think it'll be a great pro debut for her. It will be a great one regardless, I think. Hannah DeVore came back after a few years, just placed 7th at Legion. So I think she was a little hard in the upper body, but really crazy hourglass shape. I like the green suit on her. Hair looks pretty. And back pose, I think it's awesome. Just a little more projection here. Maybe she could arch more, hard to say. And then I don't want her elbows pointed so much to the sides. I want them to be angled in a little bit so we get more shape. She still has great shape, but I think it would give her a better rear delt pop as well. And then we have China. So I love China. So, and okay, fingers crossed she doesn't cancel, but I'm supposed to interview China on Sunday after she does this show. So I'm excited. So what do I have to say about China? She actually, she posted this on her story, so I think it will be okay if I show you. Okay, so here was her front pose in her check-in picture. So I suggested she move this foot more to the same line, which she did in this one here. And I think it really helped her shape. So she posted on her story, so I don't think it's like a spoiler for me to show you that. But yeah, I think if her foot were more like on that same line, that would give her better balance between her back leg and her front leg. And after she sent me this picture, oh, in my last video, I said her trap was like too accentuated. So after she sent me this updated picture, I also said to level out the shoulders, like bring the shoulder around a little bit more so they look more even and full, like in comparison to each other. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking, but really crazy shape. And then and I did a recap of this video so you can see what I thought about like everything else. But I saw her makeup could be a little bit more glam and a little bit more in line with the color of the tan. Back pose I think is great. I don't have anything to change. I'm super excited to see her on stage and I can't wait to talk to her finally. So yeah, good luck, China. Okay, then we have Gabby. So this is Gabby Sony. My mom says, testing a new phone. Did you get this text? Yes, I did get the text. Sorry I didn't reply sooner, Mom. Okay, so Gabby. I love Gabby's look. She won the Olympia Amateur overall in 2022, I believe, or three? 2022. Yeah, okay. So Gabby has a great look. I would angle her hips away a little bit. So I'm seeing too much openness in these hips here. So angle them away to get better hourglass shape. She's put on a lot of size since this last show. And I think she has very even conditioning from top to bottom, front to back. And yeah, yeah, great fullness to the glutes in one side. Okay, I'm back. So yeah, I would say just a little more size. The back pose is pretty good. Could be more up and up in the shoulders, but I think it's good. And then we have, Nikki. So she's doing her pro debut. She's been pro Junior USA's. And I thought she could have won the overall. Like, great shape. I think the only thing for her is just that she's a little bit lacking in shape of the hamstrings. I just see kind of like tendons. So a little more fullness in the hamstrings, if that can be achieved, I think, she's formidable. I love her. Alessia, so she has placed top five. She's been in the Olympia, even in the top 15 before, but I think she could angle her hips away. She just has a genetically wider waist, but she won't be alone because Tara, I think she's going to win. She has the same situation. Lauren. So Lauren said she made some changes to her front pose. So what do I hope those are? I hope she is a little less projecty with this lat. I think it's overpowering the lower body. I think she could angle this knee in because we're losing some leg here. And then and I don't love this suit color on most people. I don't love this suit color, so I would do a different suit color. Back pose I think is good. She just needs a little more density to the glutes, but don't we all? So how do I think this is gonna go? Okay, I think it's gonna be Tara. Okay, Tara. And then I'll say I want it to be China. I think it could be China, Gabby, Nikki. These might just be like who I want it to be. Oh, I don't know. I don't know, guys. And then I'm gonna say Hana. These are just for fun, so yeah. Okay, those are my picks. So let me know what you think. Thank you for commenting on my videos, liking them. It makes my day, and I hope you have a great day. Let me know your thoughts. Bye.